All right, and we are live. Welcome to Super Sentai Power Hour with me, Trevor Golding.
And my name is Gino LochSavio. You can know me. I'm Dark Prince 84 on Instagram.
All right, Brandon had a little bit of difficulty today, so we decided do the podcast or start this episode. We're gonna put this episode into two parts. First part today, next part sometime in the future.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about the Neo Saban era and the upcoming series of Dino Fury.
So I'm excited about. That's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. The green one. I'm gonna get everything toy wise of her.
All right, so let's start things off with the Neo Saban era. For people who may not be as into the fandom as we are, what constitutes the Neo Saban era?
Me, it's the Neo Saban era is when once Saban bought Power Rangers back from Disney.
Yeah, but what
So it's
seasons
everything.
does it constitute?
Oh, see, okay, seasons. It would be believe it was what Samurai started out with, right?
Yeah, I think Samurai.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it's Samurai. Um, Samurai into Megaforce, Super Megaforce, then Dino Charge, and Dino Charge. Samurai and Super Samurai. I should have said it's pretty much the same thing, but whatever.
Yeah,
And
the Super series.
it's I they should just call it the regular name, and because it's just season one and season two. Basically, all the Neo Saban era had like two seasons, um, and then what was it? I was at Super Donald Charge, and then it went into Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel, right?
Yeah,
And that's when it was bought. Beast Morphers was the first thing by Hasbro,
yeah. Beast Morphers was the
right?
first thing by Hasbro.
It was bought kind of like as they were working on it, and then Hasbro bought it, right? It was like
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
middle, yeah.
Now,
So
obviously, the only seasons in this Neo Saban era that are very much not liked are Megaforce and Super Megaforce. Everything else, I think, people have liked generally. I know Samurai was very well loved, and I heard a lot of good things about Dino Charge. I watched the first season,
Donald
never
Charge was
never watched Super Dino Charge.
it was really good. The only thing is the Neo Saban era tend to try to wrap up things in a bow a lot, so you could tell towards the end of it they just wanted they wanted to have the Talent Ranger, but they I think they ran out of funding or something. They wanted to have him be like a Dark Ranger or whatever. So they never had him, and they just kind of like ended the series with this spoiler alert. It's just I'm not going to tell you too much, but it just kind of ended it with like dinosaurs being in the future with humans, and humans and dinosaurs kind of coexist,
Mm-hmm.
because they go back in time and change like history, so it kind of splits. Now they what they did was smart. They split it off into a separate timeline, so now it's like this is Dino Charge is its own like thing. It doesn't mess with anything.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, so
And I've seen a few episodes of Ninja Steel. I haven't seen all of it. I heard it was pretty well received as well.
it it was good. I think that it was more that the acting was better on it than a lot of the Neo Saban era. Some of the episodes were pretty good. I think they could have did better with the villains in my point of view, because it was kind of like they tried to do it like a reality show, like kill the Rangers. So they had like the monsters trying to like see who could beat the Rangers. It was kind of like a silly. I think it was trying to be a silly joke about it, like all the monsters were trying to kill the Rangers, and it was like a reality show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so I thought it was good. They never got back to the point. I feel And I didn't see every single thing, every single episode exactly. I think I did, but I'm pretty sure I missed some episodes. But the main part of the story was that he was going to be the Red Ranger was supposed to be the strongest ninja, like the legendary ninja, and they never kind of got back to that.
Yeah,
So I feel like that's what one thing about it that to me, that's why now they're doing the fan project,
yeah.
Rise of a Ninja, because to get back to that point of view.
I mean,
So
and obviously the most current season is Beast Morphers, and I haven't seen any Beast Morphers yet. Have you?
yeah, I love Beast Morphers. I really do. I love probably all the characters in it. I loved it more than I thought I would because I'm a purist and a traditionalist. I've been around since the beginning, so I'm like very sketchy when it comes to certain seasons. But I thought it was good. I thought it was well done. They did like this love story thing with the Yellow Ranger and the Gold Ranger, and they touched on which they never touch on that Power Rangers and being in a relationship, how it they want to make it work, but they really can't. It's hard to make it work because of like what they're doing. So you never really talked about that before, and people have a lot of arguments. Oh, Tommy and Kimberly did it. Yeah, but you never really have to see past them liking each other.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that they kind of touch on in this series.
And
So,
then obviously, that's this is where Neo Saban Era ends because Dino Fury is all Hasbro.
mm-hmm.
Now,
I can't wait to see how good it's gonna be
yeah.
because it's all Hasbro.
Now I don't know how much Sentai you've seen.
Bits and pieces. You've probably seen more than me. You and even our friend Anthony. I'm catching up with. I think it's Pluto Television. I've been catching up with it, with stuff I missed. So I'm on. I've seen Die Ranger. I watched Zeo Ranger. I watched all the Sentai versions of seasons I liked the most so far.
All right. Now, you're probably right. I have seen a lot.
You've seen a lot more than me.
I actually have every single Sentai season on my Plex server.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is available for download on a site called TV Nihon.
Oh, okay.
Everything, I think it's almost everything from Jew Ranger on is available on there. Um,
I've
in-
seen a good. I've seen a good amount. I've seen some of the movies, like the crossover movies.
yeah.
Like the Legendary Battle. I seen that in Sentai.
Yeah,
That Legendary War. It was
that
done
was a
really well in Sentai.
Oh yeah, of course. That was actually what
So
really got me back into Power Rangers. Ironically,
it was.
um,
It
I
was like two movies. Like it was so good.
yeah, I think I already told this story on the first episode of the podcast, but
Yeah.
I'll just tell it again for the sake of telling it.
Mm-hmm.
I my first ever Power Rangers season was Lightspeed Rescue, and
Okay.
I saw that when I believe I was around 5 or 6.
Okay.
And to this day, it's still my favorite season. Carter is still my favorite Red Ranger. But and then I saw every season up until somewhere around Operation Overdrive, and then I skipped a couple of seasons, and I got back into it with Jungle Fury. Then I skipped RPM, and I skipped Samurai.
See, it's funny because even when I wasn't watching it, my best friend is a huge Power Ranger fan, so he watched it nonstop. When the franchise was completely dead, he was buying the soundtracks and everything, and so I still was in it because he was in it, even though
Yeah,
I wasn't really watching it. So
yeah,
that's why I know a lot of trivia about Power Rangers, just because even when I wasn't watching, I was watching it.
yeah. And then I was on YouTube one day around the time Go Kaiger was first coming out,
Hmm.
and I saw this preview clip of the, I think they call it 100 man battle or something in Japan.
I think so. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I saw a very early preview trailer, and I was like, I saw all these rangers fighting, and I'm just like, holy shit, what the hell is this? And before then,
Hmm.
I never heard of Super Sentai before, so I'm just like, what the hell is this? This looks like Power Rangers. So
It's interesting now. I'm sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you.
yeah,
It's
no,
interesting now seeing because it's more easily accessible, the Sentai series
mm-hmm,
now, but I knew about it, but I never seen it before. Like not then once Facebook came about and everything, they started having clips and movies and stuff that you could actually find it. But that's the one thing about it I think's funny, and a lot of younger kids that are into Power Rangers like, oh, you have you seen the Sentai version? I'm like, you don't realize a lot of older people didn't really wasn't able to access it.
mm-hmm.
So.
And ironically, it was that clip of the Gokaiger final fight
Hmm.
that got me back into Power Rangers, because I saw this and I'm just like, oh, if this will be amazing in America when it finally releases, and
Hmm.
then we got Super Mega Force.
It, I don't even know why they called it Megaforce and Super Megaforce because it's so different from the Japanese one. It's so separated. Like they're angels and they're very angelic. That their chest symbols mean something. They
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about any of that in the American version.
Yeah, and I've I actually watched all of Go Sager around the time when
Is
I
that
first
the
start.
is that the Megaforce, the first one?
Yeah, that's regular
Okay.
Megaforce. When Megaforce was first coming out, I decided to find Go Sager, and I watched Go Sager, and that if I, I highly suggest you go download Go Sager and watch that all the way through, because they a lot of the villains that you see in Megaforce are just way, they're done way
Well,
better.
in I know in Super Megaforce they have the Blue Saber Saga they call it, which is it's only one episode, and I'm like, I feel like this in the Japanese one is probably a whole arc. It's where the Blue Rangers learn how to fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that episode. It's not really it's still only one episode in Gokaiger, but
Okay.
it's way more heartfelt. It's told way better.
Oh, okay.
Um base Basically the Gokai Blue, he's very prideful of his sword abilities,
Hmm.
and the villain of the episode turns out to be, well, supposedly a better swordsman.
That's what they tried to do in the American one. They were like, he's a better swordsman, but you never saw the blue Super Megaforce Ranger fight at that point, like with a sword that much. I think he only used
Yeah,
his gun. So it was like, huh?
yeah. Um, so he comes up with it, and he ends up beating the Gokai Blue pretty bad,
Hmm.
and Gokai Blue goes through this whole arc in the episode, training and basically finding himself, finding his new skills and everything, and then obviously at the end he beats the guy nearly single handedly.
Plus, the other thing that was kind of a letdown, if anybody saw the original Gokaiger in originally before Super Megaforce is that the Captain Marvelous, the Red Ranger, he's kind of almost like Tommy Oliver for them, like for Japan. Like he's so well loved as a Sentai Ranger, and they don't. It's kind of like a letdown. They just give his powers to the guy next guy to the guy that was Megaforce. What is his name?
Troy.
Was Troy in America, and it's like, and he's nothing like Captain Marvelous, and it's just like they just that's his power up. Like,
Yeah, honestly, they're well. I'll have to talk to Brandon about doing a whole episode on Megaforce and Super Megaforce because there's a lot
it
to
to
talk
me
about
was
with
so
those.
could have been so well done, but it was just like it was really rushed. Like it seemed like they were just like trying to get through it or something. Like so when you see a movie in the theaters or a movie on video on DVD and you're like you can tell that they just needed to make this like it's really fast and it's like they just need to make it like Freddy like Jason X. Supposedly about that movie they need to make it to make Freddy versus Jason. They had to make another Jason movie. Like it's almost like it seemed like it was like that. They needed to get
Uh,
through. I don't know why. It's like because it could have been so cool. Because I love pirates, so to me, I love the suits and I love everything they do. I love the airship.
yeah. Now, this
Yeah.
is just this is obviously just my opinion when it comes to the Sentais themselves.
Hmm.
Obviously, when it comes to the Neo Saban era, the Sentais for each season, Samurai is Samurai Sentai Shinkanger. Megaforce is Tenso Sentai Gosager. Super Megaforce is based off of Kaizuko Sentai Gokaiger. Um, what was the next one? Dino Charge. That was based on your some something Sentai Koryuger. Jor
See,
some
I personally want to see the Dino Charge Sentai to see.
Koryuger. That is one of
Yeah,
the
because it seems like there was a lot of stuff because it's good in America, but it seems like because there was so much going on that it's probably so good in Sentai form.
oh definitely Koryuger is it's
And there's what one or two movies. There's one movie. I know there was like a movie
oh
made
yeah
for it.
every Sentai has at least one movie. I
Okay,
think Koryuger has one movie and then 10 years after.
that's the one that had Talon, another version of the suit in it, right?
No, Talon was a movie specific ranger
Oh, okay,
in
okay.
Koryuger. And 10 years after is a thing they do in Japan sometimes with certain seasons. And it's
Okay.
exactly what it sounds like.
Like
10
what's the
years
what to do?
though they're a future version of these rangers. Sometimes it's the exact same rangers coming back. Other
Mm-hmm.
times, like in Koryuger, it's a whole new team finding these powers, and they basically figure out throughout the story of the episode, hey, we're a whole legacy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know SPD's Sentai Deca Ranger has a 10 years after. I believe Mystic Forces has one. Magi Ranger, I think, has one. Obviously, Koryuger has one.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a couple others as well.
Okay. I know they
But
like I
anyway,
said they had sometimes they have a combination movie where they team up.
Yeah, there are a
Yeah,
lot of
like there's a
team up
space one
movies.
with all space rangers teaming up from
Hmm.
like Lost Galaxy one with
And then
SPD and stuff.
there's there's a few huge ass crossover movies that cross over Sentai, Kamen Rider, Metal Hero. Um,
I love Comrade and Metal Hero, so those are the ones I think that's really cool.
they're called
And they cross over.
superhero Taizen.
Oh, okay,
I think there are 3 or 4 of those, and they are epic. They're
that's awesome.
insane. But
Yeah,
when it
that's
comes
really
to
cool.
the other Neo Saban Era Sentais, there's
Hmm.
Shinkanger, Goseiger, Gokaiger, Koryuger, and then actually Beast Morphers. It actually came before Dino Charge in Japan. So
Oh.
so first it was Tokuzo Sentai Go Busters. That's Beast Morphers.
Hmm.
And I highly recommend you watch that as well. It
Hmm.
is it's very it it's sort they
Is it kind of the
use
same point where it's the grid? Like it's like they're well, not the grid, but they're trying to like with all the morphin energy and stuff, or that like an
yeah,
American made thing.
it's another future season,
Okay,
but it's not. I don't think it's supposed to be as far into the future as like Time Ranger and Time Force.
I
It's
saw it recently. This one you might like. Somebody posted on a Power Ranger group on men. There was a somebody. I guess they must have used. They had a Aquatar heads thing on. So and I think it was in Time Force. Someone put it in the back. So in the courtroom, there's someone wearing a alien of Aquatar.
I saw that. I saw that.
And I was like, that's pretty cool that they like use that. And it's like, okay, so the aliens all exist in like all the different planets and stuff.
So anyway, about Go Busters,
Hmm.
they they found some sort of all powerful energy that powers everything within the city.
So it's similar. It's like energy and everything based. Okay.
Yeah, they have this all powerful energy that powers everything in the city, and the main villain of the series is the Messiah. He's I can't. He's the leader of the Vayglass, this cyber-based villain organization. They live in an entirely different dimension,
Okay.
and
I
the
heard they used Goldar. Like that was actually part of the original Goldar getting
yeah
clone.
the team up, the Dino team up that ends up
Yeah.
being with Beast Morphers, Dino Charge,
Hmm.
MMPR, and Abba Ranger, whatever that's called here. Um,
What is it? What is it? No. No.
the other Dino
Super. Dino Charge. Dino Thunder.
Dino Thunder. That's what that's.
Yeah,
It
because it
was.
was Dino Thunder. Blue
I
was
was
in it.
having
Yeah.
a brain problem. Di-
I know that because that's like my probably one of my top five favorite seasons
yeah.
of Power Rangers Dino
So
Thunder.
the whole Dino team up in Go Busters, it was obviously the same 4, but
Hmm.
they did it. I haven't actually seen the Dino team up episode for Beast Morphers yet.
It's pretty good. I haven't seen it from front to back. I've seen all the clips, so it's like I have to still watch it myself.
Yeah. But this was this was an epic. They actually, instead of like an episode or two, they turned it into a whole movie. So it was like
What? I'm sorry. That reminded me. I'm not sure if it was that one or Dino Charge. Then they have one where it was all 3 Red Rangers, and they drew. They all powered their energy into the Dino Charge,
yeah,
into the T Rex,
yeah.
and it was like a huge. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was that or Dino
I
Charge.
think
I
it
knew
was
there was
that.
an.
I think it was that. I think you're
Was
right.
it that one? Because I can't remember. I know
I,
it was three Red Rangers. It might have been that. It was
yeah, it
probably
was.
that.
It's the only thing it could be.
It was
Um,
like a whole movie. It was like once you said
yeah,
movie, that reminded me
and
of that.
whatever Goldar is called in Jew Ranger,
Oh,
he
I
came
I know
he
it. Yeah.
he came back along with one of the villains from Koryuger and
Hmm.
what was left of the villains from Go Busters. They all,
Came back.
yeah, it was it was an epic series. It was an epic
Yeah.
movie.
Hmm.
Um, and then obviously, I mean, obviously Dino Fury is is Hasbro, but Dino Fury is based off of I don't remember the whole name, but is based off of a series called Ryu Soldier. I haven't seen it yet. It's supposed to be
I
not the
seen the helmet
worst.
masks before, like once, but I just never seen anything about it.
Yeah,
So I recognized it.
I've heard good and bad things about Ryu Soldier. I'm planning on watching it before Dino Fury comes out, just to see the
Yeah.
suits and the Zords and how everything might fit together.
I love that they made the the green. They did a swap. They usually do a male to female swap from Sentai to that. This way, they did the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They made Americans female and from a male character. I thought that was awesome because they
Yeah,
usually do it the other way in America.
yeah,
So it was the
and
first time.
um, I'm for those of you who watched the last episode of this podcast based on the fan projects we're doing, Gino here is the runner of the Ranger Station Con we mentioned. So
Yeah.
So if again, just to plug that, if you're a huge Power Ranger fan, contact this man here about Ranger Station. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Yep.
So any
And we're
any
working. We're growing. Me and myself and two other of my business partners. We're growing really fast. We're actually going to outgrow our building that we did for this year. So we're going to get something bigger next year, probably for the second con, because we didn't realize that how many people were gonna like be like induced that be part of it.
of
So
course. Anyway,
yeah.
anyway, so let's just go through each Power Ranger season and talk
Okay.
about it a little bit. So
Okay.
obviously, starting with Samurai.
Samurai.
Samurai was coming off the heels of the ending of the Disney era with RPM, and I know a lot of people liked RPM.
I loved. I thought it was great. It's probably the darkest season of
Mm.
Power Rangers
I
out of
haven't seen it
everything.
in a long
It's
time,
just,
but I have seen it.
it's very basically post apocalypse. It's like a Mad
Yeah,
Max type of
I know.
world. Yeah, you
And
probably remember. And it's just it's really dark. It's funny that that's the Disney era one. It's really
mm-hmm,
really dark.
yeah. And so Samurai is coming off the heels of RPM's success, and I I don't remember a lot about Samurai. A lot of my memories of Samurai are actually based off Shinkanger, because I watched all of that series from the Sentai, and obviously I have seen all of Samurai and Super Samurai, but most of my memory of the series is from Shinkanger. That's just
Well,
because that's what I've seen more.
that's good. So I can tell you about the American one. You can tell me about Shinkanger. And I've only probably seen the first episode of Shinkanger.
Mm.
I watched that completely, and I thought it was interesting how the script is pretty much exactly the same
Yeah, a lot
in
of
the American one.
Shinkanger and Samurai are pretty similar, where the Rangers are inheriting their power from a whole line of samurais slash Shinkangers. I
That's what I loved about it,
Yeah, me
that they
too.
inherit their powers.
And in Shinkanger, there's actually a lot of tension between the other Rangers and the Red Ranger, because the Red Ranger is really the true leader, because
Hmm.
that's his role throughout the generations. And I'll, uh, I don't really remember. You can tell me more about how it's handled in Samurai, but in Shinkanger, it's basically handled like a lot of the other Rangers don't really like him.
See,
They're
it's different in America. It's like they accept him. Like in the beginning, they're like looking for him. Are you the Red Ranger? Are you the Red Ranger? Like they're asking all the Rangers, and then like he's like, I'm the Red Ranger, and it's very noble. It's like a noble thing. Like they look to him as almost like their king
yeah,
in a way.
and
And
that's exactly how Shinken Red feels as the leader. He
mhm,
knows he's the leader, and he he knows he has to take on this burden, as it were. But the others are just kind of like, who are you to be telling us what to do and all of that. But obviously, as the series goes on, they find out more about him, as his personality, how he what he really thinks about his role and everything.
mhm,
And and they end up being a true team by the end of it.
mhm,
And it's Shinkanger. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite Sentais, but it's definitely good. It's not it it's it's up there.
yeah,
Um, the villains are very similar from Shinkanger to Samurai. They used they used the footage interchangeably, and I don't really remember at the moment what they were called in Shinkanger, but they had the same basic plot of these guys are trying to get this evil river to flood the human world and take over.
I thought it was interesting because it was a very Japanese uh, um philosophy, like not philosophy, but like mythology with the series. With
Mm-hmm.
and I know in the American series they did the Nylocks, which were almost like they were the Japanese demons that were trying to get to the other world from the demon world and flood the city with like their it was like their I guess evil like river or whatever. They were like in this they were in like the water.
Yeah, and it was very much the same thing in Shinkanger, but it you can tell me more about how it was handled in Samurai, but in Shinkanger, it wasn't only the Rangers that had this whole generational history to them; it was the villains as well.
That's cool. Like they inherited like almost like they were like a royal villain kind of team that they like just inherited everything. That's
Um,
interesting.
base basically, the big leader, he was the original of he was basically the same guy that fought the Red Ranger's long dead
Oh,
ancestor.
they did it in America, but the thing is, it was his, which I thought it seemed too not rushed, but it seemed like they wanted to make it like the Red Ranger have more of a sense, more of a like kind of a heartfelt thing with the villain because they made it like his father trapped him and it
Mm-hmm.
was his father that fought him. I always felt that if the Sentai series, it was probably generations back
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was
because
It was many more generations back, and this guy
Yeah.
basically awake in the first episode. It explains how he reawakens, and
But
the red
yeah.
Shinken Red
Mhm.
has been basically training all his life to take on this role. And at first, he's actually reluctant to call the other Shinkangers into the fight for a couple of reasons. One, he doesn't want to get anybody else wrapped up in this fight.
Okay.
And two, he's kind of not really trusting of them because he doesn't know how much or if at all they've trained for this fight like he has.
I want to add that the Samurai Samurai Megazord is probably my favorite Zord in the entire in all of Power Rangers
Um,
because I know it's
I
just
wouldn't go that
massive.
far for me. I'm obviously for basically nostalgia reasons. I'm very attached to Lightspeed's Megazord.
Well, I'll tell you why with me why it is because this sword has like 12 vehicles on it, and it disintegrates a monster. It literally disintegrates a monster. That's why I have to say, well, like in the Battle for the Grid game, I'm like, I'm gonna use the Samurai Megazord as my Megazord because it's so overpowered. Like, what?
Indeed.
They don't need to have 12 Zords attached to one.
Yeah. Um,
That's why. I mean, I have nostalgia reasons too, but that's what the Samurai
yeah.
Megazord.
Yeah, I can understand that. It makes sense. It's powerful. It's just like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
liked what I really liked about Shinkanger as a Sentai is exactly the same that thing that you've been saying about Samurai as a Power Ranger season. It's all about the whole ancestry and the generational differences and everything.
plus it's
Except,
like an emotional thing to it
oh
too. Like
yeah,
everybody has to
and
have like in the American one. I You can tell me if the Shinkanger has this too. I feel like they do have it even more so. Is that everybody, every character, every one of the samurais has an episode that talks about where their place is in the team.
oh yes, I don't. I'm having a little bit of trouble remembering, but I do remember a lot about that. Yeah, there. It. I think in Samurai it was only like one or two episodes for each ranger,
Yeah, it was
right?
like one. It was one or two episodes. Yeah. And he usually was really heartfelt episode. It was like Yellow Ranger wanted to show that she was tough, not just a
Mm-hmm.
pretty girl. Yeah.
Yeah. It was basically the same thing in Shinkanger, yeah, except for certain rangers, they actually ended up doing multiple episodes about a certain ranger, depending on what their backstory was.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't
Oh yeah,
remember.
they kind of did that too in Samurai. Like the Blue Ranger Samurai is a swimmer, so he goes back to his team that he left.
Yeah,
And tries to like see if he should stop being a ranger and try to be because he was a professional athlete. He was
yeah,
a swimmer.
yeah.
And then there's a whole thing about that. He starts thinking about what his dad told him about how he has to be like he has responsibilities and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't remember the exact backstories for the Shinkangers, but um, there was I think there was one. It was either the yellow or the pink that had a grandmother who they obviously spent a lot of time with as a child, and they ended up going into this role as Earth's protector, basically for this relative.
I I can't remember if Pink. I think Pink had a grandmother, but they might have split that story in half a little bit because the Yellow Ranger originally it was supposed to be her older sister that was supposed to be the Yellow Samurai Ranger.
Mm.
So she goes into the role to fill her sister's shoes because her sister's sick, and the Pink Ranger had a grandmother or something. There was some story with her. I think I can't remember exactly. So they might have split the story in half, but I think that might have been mostly about the Yellow Ranger and the American one.
Yeah, and the one thing that I really wasn't sure about when I was watching Shinkanger is they had
Mm-hmm.
a lot of emphasis, and I mean a lot of emphasis on Shinken Red. Almost every episode had some sort of little nod to his backstory.
They they do that too in the Samurai, but not as much. But there's when they went into Super Samurai, pretty much that whole season is pretty much the Red Ranger, Super
Yeah.
Samurai, and that's why he has an older sister Lauren that becomes the Red Ranger for a
Yeah.
while,
And
and
that
he starts questioning himself.
Yeah, and that's basically the same thing around the same point in the series in Shinkanger. Um, I don't remember what the woman ranger's relationship is with Shinken Red, but it's basically the same type of thing. And the this girl comes in and takes over, and at the time, the whatever his name is, the original Shinken Red, um, is really resentful of her because he feels like he's the one, and
Well, in this, he kind of steps aside. He feels like he's not really, he's not the true Red Ranger. That's what he kind of does. He
mhm.
steps aside for her
Yeah,
because
and
she actually was training with his dad to be the Red Ranger,
mhm.
and the Red Ranger was training with Mentor to be the Red Ranger. It was kind of a split thing.
Yeah, and in Shinkanger, the original Shinken Red is kind of forced to step aside. He
Oh, okay.
really, he really doesn't want to, and he's very resentful of her
Mm-hmm.
for taking this role from him. And by this point in the series, all the other Shinkangers are pretty much on his side, so they really don't want a new Red Ranger. But they obviously have to go along with it for the circumstances.
That's kind of what happens in America. They don't want him to step aside, and he says he's not worthy and stuff. That's what in the American one with Samurai. That's what he says. And then she becomes the Red Ranger for a while, but she actually tells him, and they fight side by side at one point because when he comes back, because she needs his help.
Mm. And I
Oh.
believe there was something similar in the Sentai as well, but
Hmm.
uh, the original Shinken Red is kind of not as willing to do it
Yeah.
because he pretty much feels like if she's the if she's the real Red Ranger, then she can handle it. But
Hmm.
um, his the version of the mentor in Shinkanger is it ends up saying to him, "You're you're the Red Ranger. It's your duty to help her."
Hmm.
So he reluctantly goes out and helps her.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, if for those of you watching, if you haven't seen Shinkanger, give it a watch. It's not bad. It's not the best. It's not the worst. Give it a watch. And if for whatever reason you haven't seen Power Ranger Samurai, that's one of the better seasons. I'd suggest you give that a watch as well.
Yeah, I think it was well rounded. It's a well rounded story.
Mm-hmm.
Between both seasons.
All right, now
Hmm.
Megaforce.
Okay.
Uh,
Megaforce, Megaforce.
now as I said
I
before, Megaforce is based on. I say based on, but they're very different seasons. Even though they do use a lot of the same villains or the same villain costumes.
I
It's
yeah.
based on Tenso Sentai Goseiger. Now, Goseiger is very much different from Megaforce in the way of the Goseigers. It's sort of a similar-ish story to Shinkanger, where the Goseigers they're destined to have these powers, but they're basically angels that descend from the heavens to take care of any problems on the earth. And
Wasn't it like a little bit like Nordic mythology? A little bit. The
um
angels. I wasn't
um
sure if they
I
added some of the mythology to
I
that.
don't
I was just curious. I can't remember because I never seen the Japanese one. I only seen the crossovers with them.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, with Megaforce, to me, I like some of the characters. I'm not really a fan of it because it could have been so much better. That's why I'm like not a fan of it.
Yeah, I mean I
I
I
like Troy. I think he's a good Red Ranger. I didn't like him in Super Megaforce, but I like him in Megaforce.
yeah, I'm of the opinion that a lot of the Rangers going into Super Mega Force, they kind of lost their appeal.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. He had like he one of my favorite lines Troy did. He goes, um, to the one bully in like the first episodes. He goes, "What are you gonna do? Cry and or something?" And he goes, "Do I look like I'm gonna about to cry?" And he like stares the guy down. It's almost like that Tommy Oliver thing when he helps Kim,
Yeah.
and he's like he does martial arts. To him, he doesn't do anything, and he scares the bullies away. So I was like, that is really cool. It's like a stare thing that a martial artist would have, that you would just be like, whoa, this guy is no joke. But then,
Mm.
like going into Super Megaforce, it was like a lot of the characters lost their appeal. Like the Blue Ranger was cool in the first in Megaforce, but in Super Megaforce, I'm like,
Yeah, that's the thing. Blue Ranger in Megaforce was one of my favorites because he really reminded me a lot of Billy in
mm-hmm.
MMPR. He's the
Yeah,
he's the
yeah, mm-hmm.
he's the geeky uh, doesn't really want to fight guy and and does
Mm-hmm.
well in school and all that. And
Yeah.
I feel like they Megaforce was Megaforce.
Yeah, like it's like nothing to say because even the fans say a lot of the with the cameos that it had were like glorified cameos. They weren't like full cameos. They were kind of like the character comes in like the best cameo that probably they had was the one with Jungle Fury, but that's because he directed the episode, so he made it a really cool episode. It was probably the best cameo they had when they learned how to use their inner animal spirit,
Yeah.
and they
Um.
actually did like martial arts and stuff. I was like, that's the coolest one. But
Yeah. Um. One thing, the only thing with Megaforce that I actually really liked was Robo Knight.
he grew on me more later on. Looking back at it, at first I was like, but now it's like he's pretty cool. His outfit's really cool. His armored outfit,
Yeah.
the red, it's
And
like a lion face.
in wait a minute, was it Tenso or Gosei? No, it was Gosei. Yeah, yeah. Gosei was from Die Ranger. All right.
Hmm.
I was thinking. I was thinking where do they get the name Gosei from in Megaforce? I thought maybe it was from They were using Gosei in Gosager, but they weren't. It's Tenso Sentai Gosager, not Gosei Sentai Gosager. Gosei is in Die
It's like a tongue
Ranger.
twister.
Gosei is in Die Ranger. It's Gosei Sentai Die Ranger.
Yeah, because I was wondering about it because has Gosei in the beginning of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
But
the Range is really a great series. That's one I recommend people
yeah,
watch. That's a great
Die
series.
Ranger was also one of the first Sentais I watched.
It's better than Zeo Ranger, I think. Zeo Ranger was kind of weird.
Oh, you mean Jew Ranger?
Zoo Ranger.
Yeah. Um, I I'm partial towards Jew Ranger because I'm same reason why I'm partial towards MMPR. It's more of a
Well,
nostalgia thing.
see, I like certain arcs within Zoo Ranger, but certain things were really weird, like about their origins and stuff. That's why I said with certain thing it was just
Yeah,
weird. It was just like hard to swallow. Like, huh?
yeah, but the thing about Ghost Sager is
Mm-hmm.
it's it has its serious parts, but in general it's a very lighthearted series. It has a
Okay.
more of a serious tone when it comes to the villains, but
It seems like it would be silly because it's like this base initially it's whatever you call those things that Native Americans have, totem poles,
yeah,
talking to people, talking to the
yeah,
teenagers.
yeah, and they actually live in a some sort of a mansion with this little kid.
I thought so. I thought they lived in something. I wasn't sure if it was a treehouse or a mansion. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember.
In the first couple episodes, they meet this little kid, and they basically befriend this kid, and who's in awe of them becoming these, for lack of a better
Angelic
term, rangers.
Rangers, yeah.
He I think it's I don't I'm not I don't my memory's a little fuzzy. I can't remember if it's a guy or a girl. But all I remember is it's this kid can't be more than like 8 or 9 years old.
I think it
He
might be a boy, but because I'm only going by I seen the crossovers and like
mhm.
when they met up with Gokaiger,
Yeah.
that when they fought them and stuff, I saw that up with that crossover.
Yeah. Um Within the first couple episodes they meet this like 8 or 9-year old boy,
Mm-hmm.
and he brings them back. He brings the Gosagers back to his father's mansion where he lives, and he they from the leader of for lack of a better word, heaven, where the Gosagers are from, sends down this little, I guess, for lack of a better term, robot to help the Ghost Agers
Is that
find
what
that.
Robo Knight actually is, like a robot
No,
or something?
no,
Oh, okay.
Ghost in Ghost Ager, he's called Gosei Knight, and he's
Okay.
very much his own entity. He
Is he an angel? Is he an angel like them?
No,
Kind
he's
of.
not. He's not an angel. He's he's related to them, but he's his own thing. He's
Oh,
not
okay. So he's
even
not even like a ranger,
he's
really.
not even technically he's not even technically an ally. He kind of just
Is
help.
it almost like Blue Centaurian from like Power Rangers, like where he's like a separate thing? He's not even
Yeah,
technically their ally or anything. Okay,
yeah,
that's what Blue Centaurian was. He wasn't even really even like their ally. He was just there.
yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
much. That's except whereas Blue Centaurian only had a basically a bit part. Um,
Yeah.
Gosei Knight is they they end up fighting with each other a lot, but
Oh.
some within the first few episodes he's introduced, the Gosagers are and Gosei Knight actually end up fighting because their ideals are very different.
Wow.
But they end up realizing, oh, we have a common enemy,
Mm-hmm.
so we might as well work together.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
so that's interesting. That's really interesting. Because it's kind of really weird the way they did it in the Megaforce. Here's
yeah,
Robo Knight, and it's like, whoa, whoa. Huh? There
yeah.
was like no backstory to him or anything, really.
Yeah. In Gosager, he has a little bit more of a backstory, but he's a very mysterious figure.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I like Gosager overall,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm the only reason why I don't like it as much is because of the Red Ranger. His name is Alata. Alata. He is not the best Red Ranger. I mean, he's always stumbling over himself. He's very lighthearted. He doesn't take a lot.
Maybe that's why they made Troy such the opposite
Yeah, he doesn't really take
as a
fights
character.
very seriously.
Yeah, yeah,
And um, another important thing to note about Ghost Sager is the angels in the
yeah.
land the heavenly land they come from. They're actually split into different tribes.
Oh,
The Skyke, the Land Kick, the Sea Kick. Um,
is that what like each ranger is from that tribe? Is that how they kind of do it?
yeah.
Okay.
In Ghost Sager, there's two Skykes. There's two Land Kicks and one Sea Kick. Um, Alata, the Red Ranger, is a Skyke. The Pink Ranger is a Skyke. Um,
Huh. It's
the
interesting.
Black and Yellow Rangers are Land Kicks, and the Blue Ranger is a Sea Kick. And obviously, each of these tribes is based on a different element. Skyke is based on the wind, Land Kick is based on the earth, and Sea Kick is based on the water. And
So yeah.
and a lot of their power is a lot of the cards that they use are based on their element.
Oh, that's what each thing that. Okay, now it makes more sense with that.
Mm.
Okay.
And I was actually really surprised when Megaforce was originally airing that they actually
Mm-hmm.
ended up using the same morpher. Because I heavily expected um,
What?
them to change the morpher for for that season, because if you watch Ghostager, it's the morpher is a very special object, and it wouldn't, in my mind, it wouldn't make much sense to to be able to bring that over. But so I
It
was
that's
really
one thing about it that
surprised.
I thought was kind of strange. For American audiences, was that Morpher? That's why it's not no one really. It's not a favorite Morpher.
Yeah. Um,
So.
and I wasn't. And it's also another reason I really wasn't that surprised when they brought over the Gokaiger morpher for Super Mega Force, because it just makes it makes a lot of sense.
It's very similar to the Turbo Morpher in a way. It's like it has a key. They've used morphers like this before,
Yeah,
like that
exactly.
one. So.
And in any episode where they're talking to Gosei
Hmm.
directly, whether it's Megaforce or Super Megaforce, you can see the previous Ranger keys in his command center or whatever you call it.
Hmm.
So it was it was pretty obvious from the get
It was
go.
kind of hinted. It was kind of hinted at. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
was just
mean,
like, know what a friend told me? And this is Brandon. He said would have been made more sense for the series if they adapted the Samurai ranges and crossed over into Megaforce and Super Megaforce.
um, that
Yeah,
is
I
an
was like,
idea.
That's interesting
Yeah,
to see, because it's like they already have a lot of setup, so it's almost like the Mighty Morphin ranges. It would have been made that them more likable because of
yeah,
how many seasons they were together.
yeah. Um, now, and I don't want to go
What?
too off topic, but
No problem.
something I really liked is Brandon's idea of all the politics of the Power Rangers universe. That's something that you really don't see in any of the mediums that we have Power Rangers. I don't know about the comics, but in the
The comics they elaborate on things that never were elaborated on in the series
yeah, I
more.
figured, but like they don't really say whether the military knows about the Rangers or whether the government they don't really mention anything to do with the government or the military or whether or
That's
not
true.
they know or care about Power Rangers. I agree with Brandon. That would be something very interesting to implement
Explored.
somehow.
Yeah.
And
Because
I mean, as I told Brandon in the previous episode that we did about the fan projects, I go into a lot more detail about the fan fiction and everything. But I want to implement that somehow.
hold on a second, Trevor.
Really want to implement that.
I
Maybe
will.
not in this specific story because I'm too far into it already, but in
Mm-hmm.
another story somehow. Maybe maybe
I'll.
the govern maybe the whatever villains are coming out of the woodwork are recruiting real life criminals from prisons may and giving them special powers from the morphing grid or something. I don't
I'll
know.
tell you
You
this
could do a
with
lot with that.
Yeah, we could. Just to elaborate on how the understanding about the comics a little bit. It's the way they make the Power Rangers out to be is almost like the Men in Black.
Mm,
It's like very, it's almost like secretive. Like it's like very underground stuff. Like even like when they're doing stuff, like Billy will say he'll get somebody involved with them, and then they'll be working on stuff in a secret laboratory. It's almost kind of like the show in that respect, the way they did that in the show. And then they pull in. That's why the show is starting to do that with all the different dimensions.
mm-hmm.
It took that. That's from the comics idea.
Yeah.
So
But going
yeah,
going back to
the
Megaforce and Super
Megaforce.
Megaforce,
Mm-hmm.
um, obviously Super Megaforce they tried to do the whole anniversary thing, just like Gokaiger did.
Mm-hmm.
Gokaiger was an anniversary season, but with Gokaiger they did it so well.
Or is that why they kind of did that with with like that's why they did that with Megaforce. They made it like the 20th. Was it like I think it was the 20th season. They made
Yeah,
like a big deal about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gokaiger, I don't remember what number anniversary it was, but they did it so well, and they tried to do something similar with Super Megaforce, but it just um
I
they
watched one.
did
I had to sit through the panel, the Blue Ranger panel, and that Blue Ranger they were talking to from Super Megaforce, and people. It's sad how they're talking about it being such a good season, and I'm like, is this guy for real? Like the guy interviewing him, and I'm like, stop trying to make the guy feel better because it was not good.
yeah, But Gokaiger, on the other hand, was insanely good.
Hmm.
They brought back a lot of actors and actresses from previous Sentai seasons to physically give over their powers to the Gokaigers. That was the thing with Gokaiger. They did have a lot of the Ranger keys for their morpher,
Hmm.
but a lot of the other powers, they had to physically go find these people and
That's what I
have them
liked,
inherited to them.
because it was like they were pirates looking for the looking for everything. Like the way they did it was in a pirate way,
Yeah.
like trying to find it.
Yeah, exactly. And I I actually, you bringing up Marvelous and Tommy, I find that weirdly accurate.
Yeah, I know. I just thought about it as we were talking about it. I'm like, because I, from what I've seen, every in Japan, even people that are Sentai fans love Marvelous. They love Captain Marvelous. He's almost like the Sentai Tommy in a way. It's like that they love him.
Yeah. I mean, and also in Gokai, I don't know if they had this before Gokaiger, but I know I don't remember what the first part is, but Bokanger, the series that Overdrive was based on, Bokanger was an anniversary season as well.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, except they didn't really do it in the same way. They just put the anniversary in a huge movie. The Bokanger movie was supposed to be a anniversary celebration, and
Hmm.
I've only seen snippets of it, but it looks pretty good. Um, so I don't know if this concept was brought back from then into Gokaiger or not, but in Gokaiger, that was the first time I've seen this anyway. There's this she's sort of more of a concept ranger called Aka Red, and
Hmm.
and obviously Aka is red in Japanese, so he's literally called Red Red.
Red, red. Aka red. Okay.
He's a shiny, almost angelic Red Ranger,
Really? That's interesting.
and throughout the series, and I believe in one of the movies as well, if my
Hmm.
memory is correct, um, Marvelous meets Aka Red on a few occasions.
Hmm.
And Aka Red basically tells Marvelous, "Oh, it's your destiny to take on this Super Sentai role protecting the planet from evil."
Okay.
Almost like the Oracle Ranger that you gave me the idea for the fanfiction.
Because
It's
I thought it was an interesting thing. The three, like, almost like a angelic, like choosing who gets the ranger abilities or not. Like
yeah.
in Dino Charge, they're like, not everybody. They show you in that series how not everybody gets the ranger abilities. It's you have to be chosen, and they show you a lot. Like, well, they do a different thing to get chosen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
I remember there was a whole few episodes in Dino Charge where they were looking for the Purple Ranger.
and they couldn't. They were literally trying to create scenarios,
Yeah.
like
And
artificial
then
scenarios
and
that
then in
weren't
the last
working.
episode of the original Dino Charge series, what's her name? The scientist gets captured and she's just like, "Oh, wait a minute. The dino battery is glowing. I'm the Purple Ranger."
Yeah, I think she did something or whatever after she got captured, and she becomes the Purple Ranger. And I'm like, but they were trying to do artificial things, and it was just not working. They were like throwing her into the street and stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where the kind of the Oracle. Ranger idea kind of developed from
Yeah,
in my
and
mind.
in Japan, Aqua Red is almost like that sort of role.
Yeah,
And throughout a couple of occasions, throughout Gokaiger, Marvelous meets this Aqua Red. And
really.
throughout other series as well, he's come back in some form or fashion. Like in I can never pronounce this correctly, but I will do my best. Johuger was another animal season, but it's very different. It's in Johuger, there's only one human ranger, and that's the Red Ranger. The Red Ranger is human. All the others are like animal human hybrids from another dimension.
See, I thought that was in if because we've only had in America machine rangers, we like robot rangers. We never had something like totally off the wall where it was like animal or something.
Yeah.
We had android rangers too. We had like where they were like artificially like maybe like enhanced
Mm-hmm.
range humans, but that's it. We never got anything like an animal or like like say a wolf or a dog or something.
Yeah.
Except for Doggy Kruger, but he's an alien, so that doesn't really kind of count. But it's like,
Yeah. And in Johuger, they have
yeah,
a whole movie where they actually meet the Gokaigers.
really.
I haven't seen it yet. I really want to.
I really
Um,
want to see that space one that I saw. It looks amazing. It's like a space. It's called like Space Battle or something like that. It's with like SPD, in space. It's like a team up with all the different space Lost Galaxy Rangers. I think are in it.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's got Deca Ranger, Ginga Man,
Mm-hmm.
um, Mega Ranger.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I know what
It's
you're
all
talking about.
it looks really cool. It's like it looks like almost like a Star Wars type movie or Star Trek, like but just with Power Rangers or with
Yeah,
Sentais.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think I know what you're talking about. I'll look it up. I'll see if I can find it.
yeah. If you
But
do, let me know.
I will.
But all right. So that's pretty much, and then we can get into because then it gets into the Legendary War from there because we were talking about
Yeah, the
Gokaiger.
yeah there there is such a stark difference between the two legendary battles.
The Legendary Battle was so amazing in Sentai. It's
Gokaiger's
so
legendary
amazing.
battle was
Yeah.
literally every single season up to that point.
And
And
it's like their essence, like their soul is there. Like it's not like they're physically there. It's like their essence come to help. Like it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's insane. And with Super Mega Force, they really just brought back a few more of the important rangers, I guess.
And
So
a lot of the Ranger actors. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. A lot of the Rangers.
Time Force, Light Carter from Lightspeed.
Patricia came back in space.
Yeah,
I think right. Yeah. Um. They had Melody, which was Karone from Lost Galaxy.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
heard that a lot of Rangers wanted to come back, a lot of the actors, but they only picked a few of them
Yeah, I
for it.
saw. I remember when they were still in the process of I guess finding all the actors. There were a whole bunch of Twitter posts from a lot of the Ranger actors because I follow a lot of them on Twitter,
Hmm.
and they were a lot of them were posting on Twitter, "Yo, I want to be a part of this." And
Everybody wanted to come back. Like I think I did not see anybody say really no. Like almost like pretty much all of them were like, "Oh yeah, I'll come. I want to be part of the battle."
and it was just it's such a shame.
Yeah, because like a lot of them, they only got like stuntmen from New Zealand, I think, to be like in ranger suits, and then they had a handful of the actual actors.
Yeah, and even even like before the fight actually starts, the Super Megaforce Rangers, Troy and whatever their names were, they're all just like, "Whoa, look at that season and look at that season on the hill," and I'm just and whatever the
They got
Blu-ray,
Mighty Morphin Power. Like they know, like it's kind of like they broke the fourth wall because they
yeah,
know the names of the seasons, like the names of the show, where they never really said the name of the show.
yeah, and
So like Mighty Morphin Turbo, and it's like they never called themselves Power Rangers Turbo really officially. They said Turbo Technology. I don't think they ever said Power Rangers Turbo.
yeah,
It's like they broke the fourth wall kind of thing with saying that. Like
yeah,
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Yeah,
and
it was that's
and also the fact that more than a few times they accident I don't know if it was by accident or what, they brought in Sentai series suits
that were
into
never part of the series.
yeah, exactly.
Like they had what was the one that's the music based one? Um it's like an old Sentai. They have like music notes on their symbol on the suits.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember it
I
either.
can't remember that.
But
It's an it's one of the
I
oldest
know
ones.
I think the suits they ended up showing were like 5-Man, Bioman, Changeman,
They had Die Ranger too. They used Die Ranger
Die
suits.
Ranger. And I'm
I
just
was like, wait, they're not part of Power Rangers really, because like it's almost like are they part of it or are they not? Like it's
yeah, exactly.
all right. Hold on. Ah, all right. My battery is starting to get low.
All
All
right.
right.
All right. So, I guess that's a good place to end this part then.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Um the,
I think that's good. We
we
got all the way up to we got like halfway through it
yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, obviously, if you would if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, um ring that little bell so you know when we record again. Hopefully for part 2 of this episode we'll have Brandon back. We may have our friend Anthony in there as well. He
Mm-hmm.
has a lot a lot of insight into things as well. So
Yeah,
hopefully we
he has
can
a lot of his own likes, and it's stuff he personally liked about different series. He knows a lot about Sentai. He likes stuff that I told him before that a lot of fans don't usually talk about. He likes, which is cool.
yeah.
Like he collects and stuff.
And
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, just I want to talk about Ranger Station for a second. It's going to
go right
be
ahead.
in Philadelphia area, Chestnut Hill, so it's the suburbs of Philadelphia. It's not totally Philadelphia, but it is. Um, and we're gonna have a lot of Ranger guests. We have Carla Perez, Tracy Lynn Cruz, which Carla Perez was Rita Repulsa, and Tracy Lynn Cruz played Yellow in Space Ranger, Turbo, and in Space. And we have Kevin and Jeff. They were Donald Donald Thunder, White and Blue, blue and white because Kevin was played blue. He played Nathan, and Trent it was Jeff, and they're gonna be both there. We're talking to some other actors. They might come. This whole pandemic kind of set us back with things, um, but we got a lot of cool things happening. We're gonna do it in a school, so it feels like you're in Angel Grove High. A lot of cool things. So, and then raffles. We're gonna be playing the board game, the Heroes of the Grid. I'm gonna have my group, which is Lehigh Valley Power Rangers. You can look us up on Facebook and Instagram. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. So again, if you want to go to the ranger station, highly suggest you hit him up. It's gonna be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Lots of fun stuff to do.
exactly. So,
Yep.
with that, I hope you enjoyed this first part of the Neo Saban era. Next part, we'll finish up the Neo Saban era and we will start to talk about Power Rangers Dino Fury
And Hasbro era.
and what Hasbro could do.
Yep. We'll see.
So, with that, hope you enjoyed. Have a good night.
Yep. Have a good night.
Bye bye.
Bye,
And
guys.